So I think I realized a somewhat decent way to explain something that's been on my mind for a while. So oppression and trauma are shaped in a certain way, right? Just as far as the overarching architecture, the kind of collapsible, like, accordion folder that it all fits within, right? With oppression and with trauma, what you're always going to have is someone above you who is impinging on your agency, your freedom, or harming you, and that changes things in your brain and your sense of self and in your sense of how you relate to your surroundings and the other people in them, right? And then you will always turn around and have someone else that you make less than you. In your mind, you keep these other people lesser than you, or you harm them, or you fuck with their agency or their freedom in some way, right? Even if it's just an ego thing, because a lot of like the codependency that I see in just normal American society is, and I'm talking just like social interactions, like at work, whatever. A lot of that is just based on like ego commerce, basically. And so it's all about, can I get up one by doing XYZ? And a lot of times that means, taking something from someone either above or below you. Below you will always be easier, right? So in the mindset that trauma is a disease that we give each other, and that oppression is always kind of shaped in that, exponential or kind of, fractal kind of way, because we're human, and oppression is a human creation. It's a human legacy. But it's always shaped like that, right? And, coming back to, it's turtles all the way down, we're in a situation at the moment where our political leaders and people who have a lot of sway, both in like the face of our country and in making laws that do affect our day-to-day lives, they're bought and sold by companies who want things to be as convenient for them as possible, continuing doing what they're doing without making any changes that have any kind of humanitarian considerations. And I don't know how deep that goes, like, between other countries and shit. Just remember, the U.S. is in a lot of debt, and we don't know how to fix any of our own problems. Anyway, so you do also see the same shape in nature, right? Because, like, there's always going to be a macrocosm and microcosm wherever you're standing or wherever you're looking, right? The trees are bigger than me. The river is way more powerful than me. The river would be such a long walk for me, if I did not have machines. Would you stop doing that, please? Sorry. There was a cat that's like, can I fuck this poster? Can I fuck with this poster until it's off the wall? And I'm like, how about you don't? The dignity groom. I love it. Anyway. There's always a macrocosm and microcosm. And, like, any one person is such a small piece, right? Any one person is such a small piece of their community, of their neighborhood, a lot of times of their job or of their family. And also just think about, coming into the micro of it, our pets are so much smaller than us. And our bodies are basically like a neighborhood or community of symbiotic relationships within a single organism. And so it's like what I think of as me, like this organism, it's the continuing of this organism living is very dependent on the successful interdependence between all of the bacteria and, the gut bacteria and all that stuff. All of the stuff that, like, there's, like, a ton of stuff in your stomach that's, like, you would not be able to absorb nutrients, and eating would not save you, basically, if it weren't for just, like, a lot of other things happening, and a lot of, like, parts at play. I don't know if that came out as cohesive as it suddenly was in my mind. It's one of those things that I've been thinking about a lot since I've been trying to understand why trauma behaves like a disease, and because as far as like trauma specifically, like that's something that you can kind of verify that behavior basically, or that cause and effect kind of relationship, no matter what angle you're looking at it from. Because think about how I just saw a thing about football season is starting up, and domestic violent cases go up by 10% at the beginning of football season every year. When I come home from work and I've used a lot more of my battery than I realized, kind of steeling my nerves against a lot of discomfort and stimulation that I did not want to be subjected to, or if I really ran down my patience, dealing with childish bosses, dealing with just unfair expectations or shitty expectations, or just, absolutely no psychological lifelines or social lifelines going on at the job that I'm working. I'm gonna come home and I don't know, say my cat starts eating off of my plate while I'm in the bathroom. If I've had a shitty day and I'm all then I'm gonna be like, get off my plate, versus get off my you're gonna get whiskers in it, very different. Very different as far as like what you're able to bring to the table, and that goes into everything. And I don't know, man, just as far as like whatever kind of fucking disease you want to call it, the what's his name, Jack something, who wrote Columbus and Other Cannibals, he calls it the Wetiko virus, as in like Wetiko is like basically like the devil energy, or like the it's the energy that gives you the choice of whether to, in childish terms, whether to misbehave or not, or whether to lie because it's convenient or do the right thing, stuff like that. Except, like, look at the people who are our leaders, and they're not much better, right? So it runs deep. But I think it's scariest just when, like, people, like, don't know that they're in it, and it can be, I try to take a walk every day in my neighborhood, and like, when I pass somebody, I'm trying to bring some humanity back, and I'm trying to bring some connection back, and it's part of what I'm doing for myself and my surroundings when I do go for a walk, is to be the person who, when they pass you, I'll say, good afternoon, or something like that, some sort of like, I see you, you're human, I acknowledge you, hello, and continue on my way. And about a third of the time now, lately, and in this neighborhood, I just moved, people were also prepared to do the same thing. And about a third of the time, they are startled that I acknowledge them and said anything, but they respond. And then about a third of the time, even if they don't have headphones on, that's what's really creepy. They're just, they're just walking by like, they're not seeing the sunlight, they're not seeing the birds and the trees and the clouds and shit, and they're not seeing or hearing me walking by and saying hello to them. Just, that's a disease, like, ah.